Today, I'm a transparent bun inspector. Actually, I'm opaque. Now I'm transparent. And I want to tell you guys, achievement hunting does not always come up Millhouse. I have a lot of patience for games, but sometimes even I have to just throw my hands up and let Jesus take the wheel. But Jesus is not licensed to drive, and sometimes I wind up in a ditch. So this is me, face down in the ditch, telling you guys to please never achievement hunt enchanted portals. I picked up the game with the full understanding that it was unliked. That would have been hard to miss. The warning signs were everywhere. But playing bad games is kind of my thing. Plus, this clearly is a Cuphead clone, and I love Cuphead. I want more games like it, and I will play any Cuphead clone, mostly negative reviews or not. And yes, I said any of them.
Can you help me find my way?
No. Oh god, Toto. As a positive, the achievements seemed uncomplicated. Just finish the game, and finish the game on insane mode. The story involves our two playable characters accidentally knocking a spellbook off a shelf, which opens to a page about portals. They are naughty children and bored, so they decide to go ahead and create a portal, resulting in them, their cat, and the book getting pulled in. The book suddenly becomes sentient and runs away, prompting the player to chase after it through various dimensions and worlds. This opens up limitless possibilities for level setting, and the devs take full advantage of it. We go from fighting Trojan horses in this computer simulation to fighting malaria in the Aztec jungle. Our first world is a little plain, a haunted forest. So to spice it up, it's haunted by wolf heads? Who knows? I was more concerned at this point with how shit the movement is. That is a big deal, and it's bad. Like being on ice physics in low gravity. I would start a jump and have no real confidence where I was gonna end up. And for a game that requires precision, that's unfortunate. Plus the weapons are boring, the only real difference is their color, but I'm forced to use all of them because certain enemies will only take damage from a particular colored weapon. The game is laid out with what amounts to several run-and-gun levels back-to-back and a final boss at the end. They really said, hey, you know that worst part about Cuphead? What if we did way more of that? Oh, but we'll just make it where some enemies can be killed, but some are completely immune, just to switch it up. And these privileged enemies won't despawn, so if you try to run, they will catch you. Sound good? Would that be fun? These levels are really bad, and I was noticing as I was inevitably dying and starting over that they were inconsistent. Enemies and platforms would not be where they were previously. Turns out the explanation for that is pretty easy. The levels are completely random. I'm not joking. It's random. Which means that the game will randomly give you a double middle finger and tell you to go touch some grass, spawning a scenario that is impossible to pass without taking damage. And while our cat lets us know when we're halfway through the slog that we're in, it's not a checkpoint. If you die, you go back to the beginning. It's just informational. Hey, you're halfway through this pile of shit. Good job! Our first boss is named Meow Witch, and while that name is abhorrent, she at least has a name, which is not a guarantee in this game. The fight is generally pretty dull, as many of them are, but after I am victorious, suddenly I am faced with a series of JPEGs which act as cutscenes in this game. Stop putting JPEGs in your cutscenes. It's a very jarring presentation. After navigating this alien spaceship, I am faced with the first boss with blatant Cuphead inspiration. The cow. Yes, an alien cow. Thank you for asking. What do you think the aliens abducted all those cows for, man? Breeding purposes, naturally. I have no clue why I'm dancing or why the disco cows are here, but honestly, I'm here for a good time, and I guess this is as good as it gets. The cow's third phase is an obvious ripoff of Dr. Call's robot, only with even more spam attacks, that at some points feel literally unavoidable. The UFO crashes, and we are in the Aztec jungle trying to avoid these disappearing monkeys. The boss at the end of this level is this cartoony crab for some reason, and the second phase has us underwater fighting a chancla-throwing octopus. And then the ghost of the crab from phase 1. And these fish are bullshit. Because remember, they don't take damage from weapons that aren't their color. I guess I don't understand what you want from me. The next world is fairy tale themed, kind of a Princess and the Frog type setting. And the boss of this area does have a name, Princess Mwah Mwah. It is so bad. This whole world, both the run and guns and the princess, are significantly easier than the rest of the game, which just means that the devs were charging up their bullshit for the next level, which opens with this awful buffalo fight. This made me want to remove my eyelashes one at a time. It is so frustrating. There's this dude leading the wagon who follows you around, and these friggin' cacti. They shoot needles, but there's no pattern or indication as to when. There are no visual cues or sound cues for the needles. Just clench extra hard and hope for the best. After the buffalo and this city populated by cock gangsters, we face the boss of this area, Rocky the Rooster. I'm not really sure what's happening in this fight, but I guess the Fountain of Youth is malfunctioning, and instead of making Rocky old, it makes him a different time period version of himself? Who knows? Past Rocky is the final boss, our showdown with the book. Unlike the other worlds, it starts with a boss rush, where they throw these random little half-baked bosses at us. And if you want to know the worst part, they're the most interesting ones in the game. I especially like the Beethoven boss.
Finally, some good fucking food.
Of course, everything is tainted by the core issues with this game, but the point stands. Immediately, we are thrust back into the worst parts of this game with the Spellbook boss fight. The first stage has the book summoning past bosses for attacks, like it's some sort of crossover episode, while he's flying above, changing his color weakness every few seconds. It sucks. Also, if you die, you start back at the beginning of the boss rush. And I absolutely went back to see Beethoven, because my boy turned on the hacks. There is a startling screen transition, and suddenly we're a fucking squirrel, the book is a tree, and my squirrel brethren are exploding. After the same jarring screen transition, it's a chibi art style, and the book is this huge baby-faced mage who is summoning, I don't know what these are. Fairies? Angels? I eventually win, haul the book back home, kicking and screaming, and our caretaker was none the wiser of our adventure. There is then a cutscene where the spellbook goes and tells, like, his dad on us, leaving the door open for a sequel. And you listen to me. You better fucking not. I swear to God. As terrible as all of that was, that's half of the 100% requirements finished. This leaves insane mode. There are more enemies, they do more damage, they move faster, which are all expected. But what really stymied me about Insane Mode is that there are no heals, and any damage you take carries over between levels. So remember how the game would randomly just give us a double middle finger? Because it's all random and that's what the RNG gods said at that moment? That becomes incredibly punishing in this mode, to the point that it felt like self-harm every time I booted the game up. The foundation of the game is so bad that it almost felt like it was fighting against me. I would claw for an inch of progress, only to have a swarm of unkillable ghost maids show up and steal my lunch money. I could only take that for so long before I said, I surrender. You win. Imitation is the greatest form of flattery for those who are shit at it or whatever. But when you position yourself so close to your inspiration and charge the same amount of money, people are going to judge your product harshly. And when you are a poorly executed, pale imitation, those judgments will not be kind. And while there were glimpses of something that could have been good, that's just not what wound up happening. That said, the devs posted on their Twitter that they are working on major changes to the game, and they specifically mentioned insane mode, so who knows? Maybe you'll hear from me again about this later. For now, that's all I have for you. Until next time, bye bye.